Good evening, I'm Abby Phillip in New York. Let's get right to what America's talking about. A sequel better than the first, at least for now. Months after Vladimir Zelensky's last Oval Office visit, where he was ridiculed for his attire and lectured for his attitude, the president today played nice. It comes 72 hours after Donald Trump's summit with Vladimir Putin, as the U.S. searches for an end to Russia's war with Ukraine. The big headline out of all of this is that Putin and Zelensky are in talks now to meet in the coming weeks. Trump did not rule out sending American troops to Ukraine to guarantee its security, and he changed his tune on a major sticking point that echoes Russia.
And I think we'll probably end up at some point getting a ceasefire in the not too distant future.
I want it to end immediately. I want a ceasefire now.
Pretty soon have a full ceasefire.
He has made it clear to both sides that he wants to see a peaceful resolution and a ceasefire as soon as possible.
I'd like to see a ceasefire.
I want to see a ceasefire.
I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight.
That stance contradicts European leaders who also visited the White House today.
To be honest, we all would like to see a ceasefire. I can't imagine that the next meeting would take place without a ceasefire.
Your idea to ask for a truce or a ceasefire, at least to stop the killings, as we discussed, is a necessity.
It certainly is a necessity that Putin agrees to stop bombing Ukraine. But Josh Rogin, I mean, is it progress that perhaps there could be a meeting with Zelensky? And as the Secretary of State Rubio said tonight, that Putin in the past would not even be in the same room with Zelensky because he doesn't believe that Zelensky is like a real person in charge of a real country. The fact that he's willing to do that, is that progress?
Well, I think it's very true that this was a much better meeting than the last time. He didn't insult Zelensky. He didn't dress him down in front of the crowd. They left on good terms. Okay, that's well and good. But I think it would be going too far to say that Putin has agreed to a meeting with Zelensky. In fact, the Kremlin put out a statement right after this meeting, and they said, no, we'll have meetings at a high level, but they didn't say with Putin and Zelensky. And then they said, oh, yeah, we're totally against NATO troops in Ukraine. So the two big deliverables out of this meeting, Russia has already rejected, which kind of gets to the core of the issue, which is President Trump said 50 times today that he believes Putin wants peace. And I don't know, call me skeptical. I don't think that's true. I just don't buy it. And I'm basing that on all the evidence, everything Putin says, everything Putin does, everything we know. And that's what you see those European leaders doing. They're testing that. They're saying to President Trump, if he gives you a ceasefire, if he's going to stop killing Ukrainians, at least for a couple days, then maybe he's serious. And if he doesn't, then he's not serious. And that's what's really going on.
That seems eminently reasonable. I mean, if Putin were serious, he would be willing to stop killing Ukrainians.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Vladimir Putin is somebody who we shouldn't just naturally trust based on what the Russians are putting out after today's meeting. I do think that we need to be very skeptical about what he's saying. At the same time, he's trying to negotiate. As Rubio said, Secretary Rubio said over the weekend, both sides are going to have to give and get here. It's not that Russia's going to get everything it wants and Ukraine's probably not going to get everything that it wants. And so that's part of the negotiation. I think some of us expect Donald Trump to wave a magic wand and solve these problems very quickly, when in fact it's going to take days, if not weeks, to ultimately get to some sort of resolution.
It's interesting that you say that because I will give Trump credit for a little bit of self-reflection here, because he has gone from saying, hey, this will be all over in 24 hours to saying something very different now. Watch.
If I'm president, I will have that war settled in 1 day, 24 hours.
I'll get that done within 24 hours. Everyone says, oh, you can. Absolutely, I can.
It'll be done within 24 hours. You watch.
I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled before I even take office. I will get it settled, and I will prevent World War III.
I've ended 6 wars, and I thought this maybe would be the easiest one. And it's not the easiest one. It's a tough one.
A lot of people could have told him that. A lot of people did tell him that.
Look,
Why did it take 6 months into an actual presidency for him to realize?
You had some campaign bluster from Donald Trump, but what you didn't put on that screen just now was what the president of Finland actually said to Donald Trump today at the meeting, which was, I saw more progress today in 2 weeks than we did in 2.5 years. And I think we all have a memory and the ability to Google. And we can look back between February 2022 and January 2025 and see that absolutely nothing happened under Joe Biden towards this peace process. Today, I was damn proud to be an American, damn proud to be a Trump supporter, and I'm optimistic of the future of that region.
Let me also say this. I mean, my memory goes back pretty good, and we remember how we got here. We remember the fact that Bill Clinton negotiated for nuclear weapons to be taken out of Ukraine, and we remember how Boris Yeltsin and Bill Clinton actually had a deal that was reached so that there was no incursion and no invasion from Russia into Ukraine. That's memory. And then you had Vladimir Putin come across. You know what my memory also tells me? Vladimir Putin is a thug. He's a war criminal. He should not be trusted, and he plays Donald Trump like a fiddle. All four of those things are true. And so when you have those four things and you're dealing with this thug, you're dealing with this war criminal, and you're dealing with someone who's not able to display that strength on the world stage, the problem is, yes, we all want peace around this table. Democrat, Republican, black, white, New York, South Carolina, we all want peace around this table. The problem is that you don't have even honest brokers at the table. And that, for me, is a fundamental problem where you have people they just have their self-interest at heart. And I am proud to be American every day, but you know what I don't want? I don't want American troops on the soil. I want to support Ukraine in everything we do. But until Donald Trump, not Pete Hegseth, but Donald Trump can unequivocally tell me that he's not marching down the path of Lindsey Graham and others, and U.S. boots won't be on the ground.
I don't think you have to worry about it. I agree with everything you said. I don't think you have to worry about
You agree
Trump.
with me?
We will.
Yes.
Foreign
policy?
Yes, except for the part about U.S. troops.
We'll get to the part about boots on the ground
What I'm saying,
in the next conversation. I just want to put a bookmark on that one. But go ahead, Josh.
There's a reason that these European leaders are pretending that they think Donald Trump is doing a great job with these negotiations, because they're trying to convince him that they're not the problem and that Putin's the problem, so he won't do something crazy like pull all the support for Ukraine.
And they want to protect Zelensky.
Are you suggesting that today wasn't progress?
I'm saying yes. There was no actual progress.
We don't know.
No.
I want to respond to what Bakari said. Bakari left out.
What was the progress?
Bakari left out one little point in history. I remember that great picture of Barack Obama looking really mean and really stern to Putin like that. You remember that picture? It's a famous picture. What happened with Crimea? He objected diplomatically.
True.
And what happened? He gave Crimea away with some scant diplomatic pressure. And he was actually asked here on this network in 2023 why he was so eager to give away Crimea. And he said the view was there was some sympathy to the view Russian was representing.
That was
Barack Obama.
Way more of Ukraine. Then you should be against that. Right?
But Biden said,
I'm not in favor of it. I'm not a Barack Obama supporter.
No,
I think that was the wrong
Donald
thing.
Trump wants to give away more of Ukrainian territory to Putin. That's his whole idea.
If Zelensky
took some
agrees to it,
territory, now
Obama's not the president anymore. Trump is. Forget Obama already.
Josh, I'm curious about this because, look, at the end of the day, Ukraine is going to have to, there's going to be some land.
What?
That's going to be maintained in Russia's hands.
Maybe the land they already took, but not the land they didn't.
That's what I'm asking, is that in your view, what is appropriate and what is not in terms of what they need to give
In my view, and it's not my view, in the Ukrainians' view, let's talk about the Ukrainians' view, since it's their country, they live there, they're fought for it.
Even Trump said Zelensky has to agree to this, to be clear, though.
What the Ukrainians say is that we've got hundreds of thousands of people living in this land, and they don't want to live under Putin's cruel rule because they know if Trump gives away their land, that their men are going to be killed, their women are going to be raped, and their children are going to be sent to Siberia to live with some people they never met before, okay? So any plan that involves taking 300,000 Ukrainians and handing them over to certain death and abduction and rape is not going to go well with the Ukrainians. They're not going to do it. So you could freeze the lines, but you cannot give away Ukrainian land on behalf of the Ukrainians. They're not going to do it. They don't want to live on their knees, so it's not a real thing. The Europeans are pretending it's a real thing because they're just trying to get past this meeting to prevent Donald Trump from doing something even more crazy. That's where we are. It's pretty sad.
Trump also has this ever-abiding view in, the goodness of Putin and his desire to do something nice for him. There was a hot mic moment that was caught. Let's play it for you and listen very closely.
I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand? As crazy as it sounds.
I think he wants to do a deal for me. Putin doesn't want to do anything for Donald Trump. He wants to do things for Putin. So why does Trump continue to believe that there is something I don't know. I mean, Putin is trying to do him a solid.
Well, as you heard him say, I mean, he's very proud of the 6 other deals, the peace deals that he's helped broker. And let's not forget the Abraham Accords from his first term. I mean, Donald Trump has a history of bringing peace to these countries that have been warring for years. And so why would he not want to engage directly with Vladimir Putin?
Is it because you think that he thinks that Putin wants to help him get his Nobel Peace Prize? Is that the idea?
I just don't
Look, the reality is here, Putin is a KGB-trained individual. He knows how to play people who are hard to play. And it is not hard to play Donald Trump. If you compliment him, if you suck up to him, if you tell him he's smart, he's effective, blah, 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 you play him like a fiddle. And this is a guy who knows how to do that. And clearly he did it in Alaska because he thinks one of the worst people in the world is out of the goodness of his heart of stone going to give Donald Trump a deal
but he doesn't
to
believe
help
it,
him.
He even said in the context of that comment.
He said it on the hot mic.
In the context of that comment, you heard him say, I think he wants to make a deal for me. Do you have any idea how crazy that is?
It does sound crazy.
But that was the context.
That was the
context Trump said. It wasn't like Trump was fooled by Putin. Trump was actually pointing out that he, in fact, was not fooled by Putin.
Wait. I'm confused. Are you saying that Trump believes it or he doesn't believe it?
Because the context he spoke to, I believe,
this
was
unbelievable thing that no one would really believe is actually happening. That
I think
Putin is actually doing him a favor.
Based on what he said.
If he actually believes that, then he's taking
but
it.
Based on what he said that you all heard just 3 seconds earlier on the hot mic, he's saying, do you have any idea how crazy that is? Right?
It's so crazy.
He's not validating the point. He's
it.
challenging the point.
But why does? Let me ask you a question.
And that's obvious.
I mean, with Barack Obama's failures on Crimea, one of the things that Barack Obama did do was sanctions on Russia, right? And basically,
Donald Trump has kept in place.
And basically turned Russia into just a barren, frozen oil field with maybe a nuclear weapon, right? So they really didn't have any economic standing in the world. Their economy was falling apart. But for the life of me and many others, we can't understand why Donald Trump cannot be equally as tough or tougher against Vladimir Putin, someone who does not have our own interest at heart.
Wait a second. He just got the European leaders to agree to increase their defense spending to 5% of GDP. Remember, in his first term, it was barely able.
You're moving the ball here.
That's material toughness.
No, hold on. I actually think that that's a fair point. I mean, you can talk about Obama putting sanctions on Russia, but that's after the fact. That's after he already took a bite out of Ukraine. And I do think that the NATO piece of it, the strengthening of NATO, I think most people at this table could or probably should agree that is one thing that Trump's bullying of NATO countries actually, he actually got that. You have to give him credit for
You're
that.
making my point because Donald Trump bullies NATO countries and treats Vladimir Putin out of a spoon as if he's not somebody
I'm not defending the tactics. I'm just saying the end result was something that is perhaps the most important thing when it comes to actually putting your money where your mouth is when it comes
it doesn't really do much for
Russia.
And if you
it doesn't help Ukraine.
If you take the NATO example, he bullied, and he got the end results he wanted. And he deserves credit for that, not the tactic, but the result. But here with Russia, he says, if there's no ceasefire, there will be repercussions or whatever his word was, right?
Severe consequences.
Severe consequences. That didn't happen. And then there are no severe consequences.
It never does.
He caved, unlike how he did it with NATO.
All right, let's hit pause on this because more ahead. Donald Trump says that he's open to putting U.S. boots on the ground in Ukraine, but how would Americans react to that, particularly his MAGA base? Plus, the president is big mad over mail-in voting after talking with election integrity expert Vladimir Putin, and he vows that he's going to kill it altogether. We'll debate that.